I just hit record. Yay for me. Okay. Yay for us. Steve Wright is here. By the way, I'm Siobhan Sarna. Hello, founder of SIBO SOS and the author of this book, Healing SIBO. It's on sale right now on Amazon, which is super cool. It's the lowest price I think it's ever been. And Steve Wright is my friend and brilliant health engineer. He is an engineer by trade. And he's here today to talk to us about our immune system. And right before we pushed the button, we were talking about how immunity has, with COVID and everything, I think been like so overly focused on that it's almost lost meaning as a word, but we're going to bring that back into perspective. And if anyone here suffers from hay fever, psoriasis, eczema, skin stuff, runny eyes, allergies, seasonal allergies, food sensitivities, you're definitely in the right place. So I'm going to say thanks for being here. Please, if you have any questions, pop them into the Q&A box. I'd love to know where you're from, so pop that into the chat. And then while Steve's talking, if you could just refrain from doing just like the regular chit chat, because it's really distracting, so we can really be focused. Today, I do have to leave a little bit earlier than our usual, so we're just going to dive right in. Steve, let's talk immunity and sort of give it a little more of a patina instead of the bright shininess that's now blinding us.
Yeah. I mean, I think even when I hear the word immunity right now, I'm just like, oh God, I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
And that's sad because I'm not sure we learned our lesson over the last few years. And so one of the big lessons that I hope to leave everybody with today is one of the lessons that I learned, which is, just start right off with it, which is that you don't want a strong immune system. You actually want a balanced immune system or a smart immune system. So I've gone away from saying I want a strong immune system, or anyone should want a strong immune system, to saying you want a smart immune system. And that is the way to go into the future, whether you're dealing with eczema, rosacea, hay fever, food allergies, sensitivities of things like this nature. All these things indicate your immune system is already out of whack. And then when you come in contact with like some dirty food in Mexico or some bad water or a virus, you're gonna struggle more than the average person will when it's time to fight that thing off. And so I think the number one myth we have to bust today is a strong immune system is actually a weak immune system. We want a smart immune system that is capable and dynamic to respond to whatever is thrown at it.
Well, I think a great visual analogy here for what you're talking about is bodybuilders who are muscle bound. Like they're strong, but they're not flexible. And I'm making a gross generalization, obviously, but the ones that, their muscles aren't articulating, they're not individual because they're so muscle bound that they can barely move certain parts of their body. You want to be this flexible, agile athlete and person, and that's what we want for our immune system. So if right,
it's the same thing for endurance runners who just do endurance runners, or yogis who just do yoga.
Right.
If you are too overdeveloped in any one direction, you are out of balance. And the immune system, literally, its job is to be in relationship with your environment, to be in balance with your environment. And so if you are too off in one direction, if you're too Th2 dominant or too Th1 dominant or too maybe your immune system just totally turned off due to chronic fatigue and too many infections and just too much stress, like any one of these scenarios is weakness because you're not flexible to deal with how the environment's going to change around you. And so those are great analogies for the musculature. Unfortunately, we can't see the immune system, right? We can't feel it. We can't really test for it. I mean, that's part of the biggest issue, is that there's not a lot of testing we can do out there. There's actually one new test I heard about in the last 2 weeks that we can talk a little bit about. I'm not familiar with it yet. I haven't run it, but up until 2 weeks ago, I have been searching for a test that could measure how smart your immune system is, how balanced is your immune system. And there's literally nothing but research grade testing, which you cannot get access to. I can't get access to.
But there's one you have hope for the public?
Yeah, so Vibrant America now has a in-depth immune panel that looks into more of the antibodies surrounding Th1 dominance or Th2 dominance, natural killer cell function, sort of these special immune cells and where their ratios are, because that's actually what basically helps tell you if you have one of the 5 immune dysfunctions we can talk about later. It helps tell you, are you too dominant, adaptive, or innate? And so I think that's part of the problem, is that number one, marketers and even experts and influencers have said, like, immune system is so simple, just take vitamin C, or just take zinc, or just take vitamin D. And that's simply so far from the truth, it's ridiculous. We have a very two-sided part of our immune system, plus we have the communication between there. There's a lot of places for failures to happen. And when these failures happen repeatedly, they start with everyday things. They start with being, having issues with the ragweed, having issues with your detergents, having contact dermatitis. These are the warning signs for what could be a really bad fight later on in life.
Very, very important. Very important. Okay, so what else do we need to be thinking about when it comes to our immune system as we reposition it in our brains?
Well, I think we do need to take into consideration current health and current age. And this is hard to talk about sometimes, but if your age is over 60, there is a decent amount of literature showing that you have a harder time basically turning your innate responses into adaptive responses. So innate this is the thing that's always watching. It's always got your back. It's ready to go with inflammation, with fever, with natural killer cells, with white blood cells. These are the things that are going to respond. Histamine is part of this, and allergies. This thing is always on. But at a certain point in time, it's supposed to transfer its knowledge over to the other side, which is the adaptive immune response, which is where we get the antibody. So we have the B and the T cells on the adaptive side. And so that talking and then that creation of antibodies from the B cells, that typically, at least according to the research literature, declines as we age. And so this is one of the reasons why vaccines are harder to produce antibodies in older people. They have less response rates. It's all part of it. And so your age does matter, but also your current health status matters. If you're very depressed in your health, you may also struggle with that creation. And so choosing things that are not just nutrient based. So nutrient based would be like, and I'm not against these things. In fact, I take these things daily, which is like selenium, vitamin D3, vitamin C, melatonin can be a great immune system supporter. All these things are vitamin A, retinol, not beta carotene, are very important in the literature for nutrient status and creating the possibility of a really well-regulated immune system. But let's say you have like all the guns and all the bombs and all the things in the world, but like you have no ability to aim, and you don't know, when do I use a bomb or when do I use a bullet? And do we need a ship or a plane for the job? If you don't know how to organize, you can have the most money, the most tools, the most whatever analogy, but war seems to be the easiest one because of just, everything is incoming to the body and like how it responds to that. I wish there was a better analogy, but war seems to make the most sense for most people. But, you can have all the possibilities, but if you don't know how to organize and aim, then you're not going to be very effective. And so a smart immune system is able to organize and aim and use a bullet when a bullet is needed and use a bomb when a bomb is needed. And so that's what we want to focus on. Just providing nutrients is sort of gathering all the possibilities. But when it comes to aiming and deploying, that's what we want to focus on. And so I think that's where the gut comes into play. That's sort of the next level conversation I want to encourage around immunity.
Okay, I love that. It's a great way to think about it, is that, it has to be targeted, it has to be balanced, but it'll automatically target if it is balanced. So you don't have to overthink that part. So from these misfires, what are these 5 misfires that we're trying to avoid? Having it be overstimulated, having not enough nutrients to sort of regulate it, right? Like, do you take a lot of vitamin C, Steve? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I still take the standard micronutrients, and I take extra vitamin C because I'm stressed right now.
Mhm.
So, we're still in the middle of our remodel over here, and life is challenging for me. And so if life is going to be challenging, in my opinion, I'm going to provide my body with every effort to stay resourced, knowing that I'm putting it under undesirable demand, basically. And so I do take vitamin D. I rotate every 3 days or so with it because I know where my levels are. I do take vitamin C, like 1 to 3 grams a day, depending on the day, the amount of stress I'm on. I just rotate as well. I take selenium on and off, zinc on and off. I just kind of rotate now because I was on them very heavily for over like 18 months there during the pandemic. And so I don't want to just continue to push those without having opportunity for my body to balance itself. But beyond that, I mean, I focus on my gut because we forget. Here's another thing that hopefully someone could leave this talk with. If you picture all like 80 dots on a piece of paper, 80 out of 100 dots, that's like your entire immune system. 80 of those dots are going to be right in your abdomen. They are going to be right around your small intestine and a little and around your large intestine. Like the majority of your immune system and the activity of the immune system is located in your abdomen below your stomach. And so to think that we should be just modifying the immune system through nutrients and through exercise and walking and sunlight, these are all really important. But the gut is where this chaotic mixture of the environment and our immune system all come together. And so I think focusing in on gut and gut reactions, gut health, and then specifically, there's now lots of new compounds that we can use to modify our immune system through the gut immune connection. And so that's what I focus on as well.
Well, for those of you who don't know Steve, he and his business partner and friend started SCD Lifestyles. When did you guys start?
2009.
Okay, we're talking OG here, people. We're talking about back in the day. So Steve and Jordan were some of the first people that I turned to online when I was doing the whole Dr. Google thing about how to balance out my gut. And I have to say, Steve, of all the people I know, you are one of, if not the most been there, done that guy of like experimentation on yourself and, health hacks and all of that. But whenever I have a random weird question about my health, like Steve's on my speed dial, because he's just got so much extensive knowledge based on your own gut experiences. Quickly, Steve, how can you tell a long story in like less than a minute? But can you just touch base for everyone who doesn't know your story? Is that the dog? Is that the doggy? Oh, I think he muted. You muted.
Yeah, we got some dog attack here going on. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
So yeah, I mean, my history is that I've had IBS issues since birth due to a hydrocele hernia, and then I grew up in the Midwest and luckily had really good diet for the most part because of lack of money in our household. So we ate local, and we ate fresh. But as we got money and as I went off to college, I fell into the beer and pizza trap and, $5 pizzas and antibiotics for my cystic acne. I had exercise induced asthma. All these things started ballooning as I became a teenager, and, culminating with, I was working for a Big Four accounting firm in Chicago, and I would bloat up after every meal. And I'd already been nicknamed the gas man. I was already in a fraternity, and I knew that like, even for fraternity standards, I was like really smelly and I had some messed up gut stuff. But I was farting and bloating with visceral hypersensitivity after every meal, no matter if it was chicken and lettuce, because I was actually trying to lose weight. I had gotten up to like almost 250 pounds at the time. And or if it was burgers and beers with a client. And so it didn't matter what I ate, it hurt really bad. And then all you want to do is fart. And my boss was like, hey, you're the smelly guy. If you don't get this under control, you're going to have to go. And so, I have lots of funny and sad stories about accidentally pooping myself on commuter buses and having to wash my clothes in the commuter bathrooms, and just stuff I hope most people don't have to go through. And I know like millions of people have gone through similar or worse. And so my nature is that, number one, I don't like it when you tell me I can't do something. And number two, I do like pleasure and I'm a bit of a hedonist. So that means as soon as I figured out diet and supplements could basically put me in this gluten-free specific carbohydrate box with betaine HCl and enzymes and stuff, and my pain went away, then my entire focus was, but why? Why can't I eat dairy? Why can't I have gluten? Why can't I have alcohol? I don't care what you say about caffeine. I love coffee, so I'm going to keep drinking it. And how do I make this work? How do you live in an environment that is clearly not built for these bodies and these genes and still have fun and be a normal human and go through remodels and try to have kids and have dogs and blah, blah, blah. And so that's really my focus. And I don't really care if it's natural or not. I care, is it safe and does it get results?
Right. So when Steve told me that he was finally going to develop his own line of a few supplements, I was like, oh my gosh, fantastic. It's about time, because I know he was totally opposed to making his own supplements for a really long time. And then it was like, oh, I really should do this. And then he finally did. So thank you for finally doing it. So he has a line that I'm super excited about. He doesn't have tens of products. He has very specific products that fill in the gaps between other products that he felt were missing from the world, like digestive enzymes called Holozyme, Tributyrin X, which, by the way, somebody's leaving you a note here. Hello, Steve. I am taking Tributyrin, but I would like to know what is the best way to take it on an empty stomach with food or before going to bed, and how many times a day and for how long do you recommend taking it? I've been taking it for almost a month. I did not see any results until I started taking it at night before going to bed. The pain I had every night is almost gone. I'll retest the zonulin in a couple of months to see if the number has decreased. I'm very happy, Steve. Thanks. God bless you. Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our company and what I'm up to now, A Healthy Gut, is scratching my own itches and scratching itches that I find annoying in the market, which is that if I see like a product that I feel like somebody cut costs on, or somebody just formulated in a sort of a weird way, or there's something on the market that I want for my family or my own health, I want to make it better than anything that's ever been made before, and build the products I need to have that life I said, where I'd like to have a glass of wine. When I have a glass of wine, I'm going to have a cup of coffee every morning because I love the taste. And so be it, and so that's where I got focused on the immune system. I'm not an immunologist. I am a gut guy from the start. But when the pandemic kicked off, I was having a lot of anxiety. I did end up losing my grandmother to COVID. I almost lost my dad. He spent 23 days in the hospital. And Shay is, no evidence of disease of breast cancer. And so I had a lot of reasons to try to figure out how to keep my family safe. And when I get anxious, I typically take that out on the research papers late at night. And so that's where I kind of realized that there was no real good options other than micronutrient support and prayer, or hope and faith. But that there was this growing new realm of research with human data showing that depending on what happens in your gut, we can actually make your immune system smarter and better at responding to stress, better at responding to its environmental allergens, better at responding to food sensitivities. And then once I kind of got through really dark times and I was like, wait a sec, there's actually something really cool here. That's what got me motivated. And that's why we ended up coming out with the Holo Immune product, was because I was like, this has never been done in the history of the world. This is the first product in the market that includes 3 different paraprobiotics coupled with beta glucans. It's a complete experiment, and the experiment so far is going really well. And I'm happy to report that it could have gone a different way. It could have been just another product that didn't do anything. But so far, the research that these companies put into their ingredients, and then the ideas that I had kind of bringing them all together, has really proven to help quite a few people.
So talk to us about those particular ingredients and the role of those paraprobiotics in helping the gut. So, most of the people listening here, hello, are, gut focused. So take us through some of that. And if you're not, you are here because of that probably, but also everyone on the planet should be gut focused. So, but you've said a couple of things that those of us in the gut health world, like, I've heard it, but I'm not really sure exactly what that means. Like, take me through that.
Yeah. So paraprobiotics, para just means like basically dead or killed. And
Okay.
so these are purposely killed probiotics. There's a lot of talk out there about how your probiotics need to be alive and they need to be survivable and things like this. Um, this is a line of research that basically looked at dead versus alive, and also the maturity in the growth of the probiotic, because everything starts with a little speck and then it grows into a full adult cell. What researchers found is that the membrane, the cell wall, the membrane and the receptors on it, they change as a cell matures in its little petri dish from like nothing to a full adult. And so what they started doing was wondering like, okay, what happens if we do immature, like they're only 50% baked, what happens? And so what they found was that if they used heat to kill these bacteria earlier, they had a different cellular makeup and a different receptors. And that caused a preferential different and better increase in immune function or harmonizing of immune function in many cases than the preferred, or not the preferred, but the actual adult live cell. And so so for instance, one of the strains is called Lactobacillus acidophilus L92. And that's a Lactobacillus acidophilus strain that's been in kefir for like 100 years. And so they've used it in kefir in Japan for like 80 years or something. But they found like about 20, 25 years ago that if they killed it earlier, that it did some really cool stuff to the immune function and basically helped block IgE formation of allergies, helped lower, they have studies on atopic dermatitis, so eczema, and helping to relieve eczema. They have studies helping to relieve hay fever, like the itchy, watery eye specifically. Really cool stuff. And so that's what paraprobiotics are. They're basically usually younger cells that are heat killed. So therefore they're shelf stable. They don't need to be refrigerated. You don't have to care about survivability or anything like that. It's much easier to research and work with. And so this doesn't replace probiotics. It's just that our conversation, our knowledge around bacteria and how they interact with our bodies is really changing. And so probiotics have their place and the various types of probiotics have their places. But when you're talking about specifically modifying the gut immune linkage and all the associated issues with that, including histamine problems, food sensitivities, that kind of thing, you want to focus in on these paraprobiotics right now, or something that acts like that.
So Julie's just asking, like, are these in Holo Immune? Can you just take us more slowly through what's in there, Steve?
Yeah, so this is Holo Immune. And so
Brand new.
yeah, it's brand new. There are 3 different types of paraprobiotics in here, and there's 250 milligrams of beta glucans per capsule. Now, in the world, there might be like 10 to, I don't know, 12 different paraprobiotic strains I've found personally in the research literature. These 3 were specifically chosen because they had data on cold and flu in human. So I chose it. We can't talk about that. I can't really educate y'all. You can Google the strain in that paper and go look it up. But due to legal ramifications, I can't talk to you about that because it's only for practitioners. But these 3 were chosen due to how they modify the immune system and their data in humans in cold and flu. And then the beta glucans was chosen for secretory IgA and innate immunity function in the gut. And so there's 6 to 12 other commercially viable paraprobiotics, but they don't have as much research and the mechanism of actions are less understood and or they're very hard to get. So these are the ones that I got.
And
yes,
what is beta glucans? I mean, just explain that. And is it derived from yeast? And if so, does that negatively impact SIBO?
So beta glucans are, again, the cell wall. Like this took me so long to wrap my head around, and I'm not even there yet. I'm only like halfway around the circle on this stuff. But like beta glucans are essentially the extracts either from mushrooms or yeast. And it's a lot of the cell wall and some of the makeup of the inner side of it. And again, how our own microbiome and our own immune cells interact with these cell walls, it's sort of like giving it information. It's almost like maybe a new update on an iPhone or one of your apps on your Android or something. And so our beta glucans are from yeast. They're 1,3,1,6. And I chose that specifically knowing that there's a lot of people out there who are against that because they say it may activate histamine, or, you need to take it from mushrooms because everybody's afraid of yeast. But the data on yeast-based beta glucans is proportionally much greater than anything on mushroom beta glucans. And so again, I am about efficacy first, and I'm totally about safety as well. And so I did a lot of testing. We actually serve, majority of our people are actually high histamine people, mast cell activation syndrome people, people who have multiple chronic conditions. We serve the sensitive of the sensitive. And so we did a lot of testing early on to find out if people would react to this. Would it be too immune stimulating for them? And basically the answer was no. In fact, it showed the exact same average. About 3% of people who buy it have a reaction to it. This is our average across our entire lineup. And I believe it falls well within the placebo effect, and or the effect of, we can never take into account the fact that like 5% of people will have a reaction to a product, whether it's curcumin, quercetin, or Holo Immune. So I chose 1,3,1,6 because of the studies showing the secretory IgA boost and the fact that it had more data in humans than anything else. And it is derived from yeast, and I have not seen it impact SIBO in a negative way at all. The only negative impact from this product that we've ever seen is someone with high histamine not going slow enough, so not breaking the capsule open and slowly working themselves up. We have a lot of other people who are histamine people or neuroinflammation people who are on some of our products already, like Tributyrin X. They're on other products like IgG from Microbiome Labs or Sporebiotics from Microbiome Labs. Take this product and get that final sort of complete resolution of what they were looking for.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
it is powerful, but for those people who are super sensitive, you know yourselves, go slow. And for other people, I would say the biggest success is around rashes, skin conditions. People writing in saying, hey, I've never been able to get rid of this little rash thing, or this eczema. I've been trying functional medicine ideas for a long time and never quite got resolution. And this is a big supporter for my rashes and my skin. So that's a big component. And then neuroinflammation, people with chronic brain fog or random sort of thinking clearly issues. I don't know how you want to describe those.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, you described it really well. When you're like, I just can't think, that moment when you're like, I just can't think. I had a thought, where did it go? And I sometimes refer to those as like, the balloons that are just flying away and you can't hold them back. I have a couple of friends that are real blurters. They're just like, blah, with their thoughts and ideas. And I'm like, why are you doing that? That's so random. But after, like, I really had a serious conversation with them. I'm like, what's going on? Are you okay? And they're like, I had the thought and I had to get it out of my mouth. I was afraid I was going to forget it. I'm like, that makes total sense. So if you've ever caught yourself doing that, we're talking about you. And that doesn't mean you're like it all the time, but maybe it's just food that puts you into that state. It's a lack of sleep that puts you in that state, or your microbiome is not supporting your brain function. And so those could be great. Sure. Yeah, Julie, we're all about full disclosure here. Steve is one of the most transparent people I know. I certainly am all about that too. I don't, I have people every day, literally like hundreds of times a year, reach out to me and be like, hey, Siobhan, I've got this cool thing. Would you share it with your community? And I have a very thorough vetting process that I do. And I say no, I mean, way more than I say yes, but Steve is a regular with us because I totally trust him. I totally believe in what he does, his integrity, and it's not for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. Hello, please get that. And also this whole thing that's also counterintuitive in a way is about going slow. And I say it all the time. I'm an impatient patient. I want it yesterday. I'm pissed off that I didn't get, a SIBO diagnosis when I was 5 and just so, this is why I do this work, is because I was so frustrated knowing that I had a computer and I had brains and a college degree and I had some money and I had insurance and I wasn't well. And I was like, what? There's a condition called SIBO? What the F? So in that frustration, that's the lens I look at a lot of things through, just because I know other people are going through it. And I was like, if I've gone through this, then I know other people are suffering even more, because I have so much privilege and so many advantages. And so I'm really happy that Steve's here talking about this. So just let's go. People are asking about, like, which is this product? Where do you get it? Is it for the skin? Is the brain fog? It's all one in this case, which is the Holo Immune. So can you just hold it up again, Steven? Steve's given us a 15% off discount on his entire lineup. And when you check out, it's automatically applied at checkout. So there's no code or anything. And it's just for a limited time. But there you go. Yay. Thanks. I don't know if anybody can see that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can see that. So,
okay.
So let's go back to the science for a little bit. Let's go a little bit more teaching. So
yeah.
Why would it impact the brain? Why would it impact the skin? Why would it impact the immune system in general? And I think this is really important for people to comprehend. Is like, you have the two sides, adaptive and innate. On the innate side, if you get bit by a mosquito and it just goes bigger and bigger and bigger, and like the swelling never goes down. If you roll your ankle or something, you need inflammation, but then it should go down. If you're experiencing signs of innate immunity that doesn't shut off, basically part of that is probably dendritic cells or plasmacytoid dendritic cells not telling the inflammation factors to stop. So there's on and off switches, right? So we need it to come on, but then it should turn off slowly. So that's how the innate immune system should work. Like when you have, let's say you eat something you're not supposed to, like dairy, and you're reacting to it. I'm not saying that everybody should avoid it, but I'm saying, like, for you and your body, you should have a spike in cytokines and inflammation, but the cells around it, the signaling molecules around it, should help turn that off. There's other T regulatory cells, there's dendritic cells and stuff that should turn it off. And so if you have unchecked inflammation, that's innate immune dysregulation. If you should get an inflammation, but you never get inflamed, that means your innate immune system is so suppressed. This is when we see secretory IgA low on a stool test. We see it so low, but yet you have a SIBO diagnosis, or yet you have a parasite of some type. And basically the idea is that if your body keeps fighting something and losing, it's sending all its men or all its women or all its bombs to war, and it runs out of ammo. At some point, it's going to get to the point where it can't respond. So those are two immune misfires we don't want to have happen. The other thing is that communication pathway, shutting it down. Like an area in which it gets a lot of this training is through the gut and through the microbiome. And then on the other side, you have Th1 and Th2 dominance. So Th1 is typically associated with hay fever. Th2 is typically associated with autoimmune conditions. And then you have your B cells not being able to make antibodies, or over making antibodies for food sensitivities. And so a lot of this data comes from the gut, from what you're eating and drinking and breathing, and your relationship to your environment every day. Because other than your nose, which is, a huge source of an open hole, I guess, to the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, just open holes are basically your eyes. Where do we see allergies? We find allergies in our noses, our eyes, sometimes our ears, in our gut. These are open holes to the outside world. And so this is where that exchange of information happens, and where your immune system is slowly trained every single day. And so in the research for the last 30 or 40 years, beta glucans have been used as a way to basically adaptogenically tighten your immune system function. It's sort of like if you're on a teeter-totter and you're going back and forth between innate and adaptive immunity, you don't want to be, flying around like a 4-year-old having too much fun. You want it to be very tight, and you don't want to rock the boat. More balance, more harmony. And secretory IgA specifically, we know, helps boost, beta glucans helps boost secretory IgA in the gut. But there's plenty of other studies on all kinds of other chronic diseases where it seems to help with the protocol. So like in cancer, it's helpful. In other cancer, it doesn't kill cancer, but it's helpful. It makes all other protocols work better typically. And so that is part of what the paraprobiotics and the beta glucans are doing, is they're helping to be basically adaptogenic, just like herbs are used in, especially in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine. The way that herbs are used to sort of boost one side of the yin or the yang up, or something around the kidneys or whatever, you're sort of trying to give the body a little support one way, a little support in the other way, in order to bring it back to balance or stop it from getting too crazy out of whack. That is a lot of what's happening with a product like this and other. There's not that many other products in the market, but beta glucans by themselves can do that. You can find one of the strains, Amuse, in a single form on the market from other companies. We are the only company that has 3 different paraprobiotics in the same capsule. And so that is sort of the invention here, is that combined with beta glucans together was desired because the beta glucans helps with innate immunity. Amuse is one of the strains. It helps with the cross communication between the 2 sides of the immune system. LP20 is another one of the paraprobiotics that helps support TH1 side. And then the L92 helps supports the TH2 side. And so basically I wanted something that would not overstimulate any one class of person who, you know, has an issue. And in fact, would just help sort of like, I don't know what the thing is, but sort of like hug the immune system so it stops getting so aggressive with its responses.
Comfort it, balance
Comfort
it out.
it. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. So I just wanted to pull up the page on your site. So this is what it looks like, because you were holding it up and it was hard to see. Here's some of the ingredients and customer support. Who puts a phone number on a bottle, on a supplement? But Steve does, right? And you even have a Facebook group for people who are using your products, right?
Yeah. We have health coaches on staff. We have a Facebook group for customers only to ask specific questions around dosing, or, hey, is this legit? Or, hey, I'm not getting results. What can I do?
What's normal, what's not? No one's
yeah.
normal. Everyone is. Yeah. What's average? So they take 1 capsule per day with food, or is directed by your health practitioner. So when you start it, Steve, what do you suggest for starting? Open capsule? Is that safe?
So yeah, it's totally vegan, and there's no fillers. It's non-GMO. It's totally, you can totally open the capsule. So if someone's really sensitive, we say start with the sprinkle, open capsule, and start with sprinkles. If someone's a little denser and you don't usually react to stuff, you can start with a full capsule. But just know yourself, be an adult, take responsibility for yourself. Right. Some people use 2 to 3 a day, so you can experiment with higher dosages. The strains have never been studied together, but each of them have been studied in humans on their own. Some of them have been studied in kids, but our product has not been studied in kids. So I can't tell you that, that's allowed. You'll need to work with your health practitioner for that. But each of the 3 strains are trademarked ingredients that were brought to market by the respective companies. So I think there's over 30 or 40 human studies on the combined ingredients in the product. And then plenty of other rat and mice data on it. So it's a pretty cool product in that regard, that there's a lot of data. What about Canadian shipping and all that? So the coupon code that we came up with is free US shipping. Canadian shipping is going to be our foreign shipping fee, which I think is $24 right now, unfortunately, but the world has changed over the last 2 years, and all the rates went up. So, but you can still get the $15 off if they order through our link. Okay, so that helps. Karen, Tributyrin X has helped me to be able to drink red wine without getting a massive headache. I only take 1 a day for 8 months and has never failed me. Also, Holozyme has helped my son with heartburn. That's awesome. That's great. That's great. That's great news. That's awesome. Okay, I wanted to show you one other thing. So when you click the link, you can, read more about it and all that. Steve, I wanted to just show your website one more thing. By the way, I love the cover of the cover shot of your website. Oh, look at you, handsome. Does it show you in the green shirt? Is that what you see? Yeah. Yep. Okay, good. You're in the right place. Is your gut leaking? This is the Breaking the Vicious Cycle. This is the famous SCD lifestyle book by Elaine Gottschall, classic. So I wanted to show that there are actually not that many products that Steve makes. So he really is like
legit. This is like very specialized. HCL Guard, you can read all about it. Holozymes, this is the digestive enzyme that Karen was just talking about in the chat. This is the Tributyrin X that people have been talking about. She was talking about how she can drink more red wine, that it helped with pain. So can you take this on an empty stomach?
Yeah, totally can be taken on an empty stomach. Those are very old labels. I got to get that page updated.
We all got to fix the website.
The shot page has a lot more of the actual updated pictures of the products. That's the original from 2 years ago.
We get the idea. By the way, your blogs, which I'm not surprised at all about, were really good. I was like falling down rabbit holes left and right this weekend reading some of your blogs. Fantastic.
Well,
like the one on, I was really impressed. So that is, that's worthwhile. Everyone get in there, check it out. And if this appeals to you, I really want to recommend that you try it, because it's not just about, did you get a cold, right? It's not just about a skin rash. It's this whole, true holistic balance.
Yeah, you can read the reviews on the website, and you'll find that the majority of them actually are related to people who had food sensitivity issues. They were already using something like HCL Guard and Microbiome Labs products, and they still couldn't get to that next level of introduction. You'll find people that have histamine related issues who were much better, but still not quite there where they could lead a more resilient life and just tolerate more things, have that glass of wine or strawberries or whatever it is. And then the people with the skin conditions seems to be the other one. The neuroinflammation, I can't explain that yet. I just know that Shay, who Siobhan's starting to get to know a little bit, Shay is my fiance, soon to be wife, and she actually commandeers all the bottle. I had to go to her office to steal this for the show here, because she uses it for the cognitive benefit, which we did not anticipate. That was not something that I was planning. I wish it worked for me. It doesn't work like that for me. And so you can take this right along with any other probiotic out there, with any of them, whether they're alive or dead, or not. It's not competing, because it's completely designed for the gut immune connection and sort of modifying that. It's not, all the other strains and stuff like that. If it's working for you, just take it along with it.
Anonymous attendee, no, this is not saying, we're not saying that this is going to put your ulcerative colitis into remission. Nope. Nope, not saying that at all. This is not medical advice, nor is that a claim that any of us are comfortable with. I shouldn't even say that it will, everyone's results will vary. So somebody got out of pain from it with their gut. This is your unique snowflake microbiome and body. And Anonymous, did I say this to you? Because I know you asked this question with the masterclass we did recently. Have you done anything with ozone, rectal ozone? Amazing results. That's Dr. Alana Gurvich, who's the person who first told me about it. And she has tremendous results with her patients. You could, sign up for a consult with her out of Portland, Oregon at Kuan Yin Healing. That's Gurvich, Gurevich. I'm so sorry. I wish I could tell you that yes, it was going to do that, but that's obviously not safe or wise. You need to talk to your physician, because it's super serious, as you know. Dan, my heart goes out to you. We definitely support you. Daniela is saying, are these probiotics, are they double encapsulated?
No, there's no encapsulation needed, because they're already dead and they're killed at a specific, like I said, a specific life cycle stage. So we're not trying to protect them from stomach acid, because they don't need to be protected at this point.
Who would Holo Immune, have you seen anybody get results with rosacea?
Yeah.
Okay, Misha. And then could you take Holo Immune while on antibiotics for SIBO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's designed to be a supportive adaptogenic product, whether you're in a SIBO killing phase, a SIBO recovery phase. I think a great use of the product would be like if you're an athlete who's pushing for a big race or a big push, if you're a mom going through back to school time, if it's whatever that stressful point in the year is for you, that is when you might want to take this proactively, like ahead of any issues. For the rest of people, it's more about, are you already battling an immune dysfunction type symptomology or complexity? If so, this could be the missing piece of the puzzle for you on top of the other functional medicine, integrative medicine, your diet, the other things you've been doing, if you're still out there wondering like, why am I not getting better? This is a new tool that can be used for these people that we've never had access to before. And so that's what we're finding a very differencing in a result. Some people love it. Some people don't notice much, but they're thankful for it.
And so Steve, let's say someone got to run, Leah, I got to run too. What's your return policy? Let's just get that out of the way. I don't think.
Yeah, we have a 60-day money back return policy. Use the whole bottle, ask for a refund. Hopefully you would contact us. That's why we have health coaches. That's why we have a phone number. That's why we have a Facebook group, because the product is only so strong and so beautiful. There's no product without also dosing instructions. So just like Microbiome Labs has, Quran has amazing dosing models, and other people out there have amazing dosing models for their products. The product itself can only do so much. You have to know how to individualize it for your situation and what you're dealing with. And so, if you ask for a refund, the first thing we'll ask is like, do you want our help in trying to make it work for you? But if you don't, we'll just give you your money back. But the goal of the company is to help educate you as an adult about your body and about your situation, and empower you to make, choices that are possible for you with what you're doing.
And, Steve, that's such an important part of it, about taking responsibility and being a grown up. I literally had a communication with someone today where they were just like, I don't know how to use my computer, blah, 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 blah. I mean, as my old principal at junior high school would say, flat feet and dandruff. Like, there was just like I have a really gross analogy I have to get out of my head. Sorry. It's like more excuses than a pregnant lady of the night. Terrible. Sorry. So this is time for you to take responsibility. If this appeals to you, I definitely want you to try it. Sorry for my crude analogy there. I was just trying to keep it light. Totally inappropriate, Siobhan. Anyway, this really is an opportunity for you. Now, I have to go, and I love you all. Thank you for being here. Julie's saying, I could listen to you guys all day and then some. I have some great concern about oral surgeries that I severely need, and have very compromised immune system and very difficult digestive system, including gallbladder and liver dysfunction. I will feel much better when I get started on this. Have been looking for something for quite a while. You can order it for Europe, but the delivery is going to be expensive. So is it $24, Steve, for the bottle, or is it more expensive for Europe?
Europe and Canada are the same right now.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, and if you want to get a wholesale account, reach out to support@healthygut.com. Can
just
you take
a FYI, but the LP20 has actually been studied for periodontal disease pockets. So the pockets you get, they're starting to see that there's an oral connection where you can actually modify your gums based on your gut and the immune system down there. So it's early. It only works on the deepest of pockets. It won't save it. It doesn't fix anything, but it does
remineralize your teeth.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but support yourself. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Clarissa, behind the scenes. Go ahead and pop those links one more time up there, Clarissa, so everyone can grab them. Yes, I'll send you an email later on today with this replay and links. If you don't get it today, it's going to come out tomorrow, but I think it's going to come today. I'm not always positive. And when you click it, you will be also taken to this video. You'll be taken to Steve's, all the interviews I've done with him over the years about these products and Tributyrin X and Holozymes. It's like this whole Steve Wright course we have that's totally free, of course. So be sure to click the link so you can see the whole thing. Throw some love in the chat for Steve, please. Thanks, Jean. I'm glad you've become a yoga teacher. That's amazing. Nancy, Julie, Ludmila.
Thank you, everyone.
Great to have you. From
Thank
Romania.
you, Siobhan. Thanks for having this community.
Oh my gosh. I love you. I love them. I love doing this work. And that's what it's all about. Get that direct connect. Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Right. Take care.
Bye. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye. It's Dr. Gurvich, Gurevich. So anonymous employee attendee who's trying to find the help for UC. It's Dr. Gurvich, Gurevich. Her father is in Long Island. That's not him. Clarissa just put it in the chat. I'm now 5 minutes late, so I'm gonna bolt. Thank you very, very much. Love you guys. I hope you'll take advantage of this because it's a great offer and there's no risk because of his great money back guarantee. But I think it's pretty amazing stuff, obviously. Okay, bye.